Good day. My name is Raymond from Jaarsveld, and I will be talking about my program that I have designed at New Cloud Academy, the tool checkout versus version 2.0. Project description. This is a project that I took further from term 1. It is a computer-based program that has a secure database of tools. It is different from other projects by using the Python language and a built-in GUI, which stands for Graphical User Interface. Problem statement. To design a Python-based computer app to track tools by keeping a database of scanned tools in workshops to minimize theft and misplacement. Research. I've done a lot of research to seek what type of GUI I want to use for my program. I researched for what appropriate application to showcase the results and what type of GUI would be easy to learn and interact with. For my next topic of research, I was about for the SQLite and the Python to see the cooperation, how that would work, and if there would be any successful connection between the two programs. This is a project design that I've been working on, whereas I've been using the PyCharm IDE, whereas I've been creating all the code and editing crashes and making sure that it would all work for the final product. Project testing. Testing the connection between my code and the GUI, as well as to insert the new code into the IDE and to see what the outcome will be. And lastly, to see how the GUI should look like for the final outcome. Here is a small snippet of the code of an example from the IDE. And here is another snippet of where I've added the different types of buttons into my main code. For my time management. For the design project, I'll give myself a 7 out of 10. For my PPD, a 9 out of 10. For my website evidence, 8 out of 10. I spent a lot of time with the course theory of the Python. However, I kept my website evidence up to date. And also, I've kept a good pace to see what type of code was working successfully during the course. Next is my evidence. Here are a few screenshots of where I kept my work up to date. For example, for my reflected comments that we do the PPT sessions with JC van der Merwe. For my practical coding exercises, where I did some exercises to get some practice with the Python coding language. And at the bottom is my activity log, where I kept a daily basis to see what I do for each day of the week. For my difficulties, was for understanding the errors whilst debugging the code. Next was solving the code errors that happened while debugging, and also understanding on how the code output should be for the final outcome. For my successes was having 100% working code. Next was having a successful connection between my Python code and the GUI, and lastly to finish the design project before the deadline. For my positive learning was that I increased my understanding on using more advanced IDEs, and also I improved my coding capabilities and my coding knowledge. For the negatives was to do more testing before going on to the next step, and lastly to balance my coursework and design project better for the future. For my acknowledgements, I want to thank Amano for giving me good ideas on how I should interpret my main code. Next, I want to thank Raymond for recommending ideas for the future development of my design project that I've been working on. And lastly, I want to thank Nicholas for helping me with the code errors and debugging with my main code. In conclusion, I have a working code for my design project. I could reach my main goals for term 2, and all the code errors and crashes is resolved. For my future plans, for this design project for future development, I want to add a QR camera. Next, I want to add an operating touchscreen. And the next coding language that I want to improve my GUI is to use the HTML. Thank you for listening, and I will show you a demonstration of how it works. All right, so this is now a demonstration that I'm going to show you now. So here's now my main code that I've on this IDE called the PyCharm. So over here's now an example of the class, the database of the code where I insert for the tools, and where I give now the functionality to remove or insert and update the tools. And here's some more coding of the selection of the tools for removing and updating tools. And here is now the code that I've used to be able to create a database and to insert the scroll bar and such. And here are now some of the code that I've inserted to add the buttons and to give different functionalities to the button of my main code. And now for the demonstration. All right, so this is now the graphical user interface, which is now shortened as now for the GUI. And over here, this is how the program will open up. And it will first ask you the tool name that you want to now take out. For example, I'm going to take now a hammer. And for that reason, it's not going to be available anymore. So for that reason, I'm going to say no. And I'll insert my name, my name is Raymond. And for the date and time, which is now the 18th of August of the 2021. And then you would now then add the tool as well. And then they will show that the database is now updated with my name and where it has been available and the date and time I've taken it in. If I want to update this database from the administration, I would click onto that item, and I've now finished using the hammer, and I will change the availability to yes. Then it would update, and as you can see on the database, it has updated the whole SQL database. And that is my demonstration. Thank you for listening.